All right, fellas, we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Driving Side. Today's a little Camaro talk. I don't know who we got in here already, but I watched another video on another channel, and we left out some. They had some new Camaro talk as far as like the final edition and everything. So just wanted to hop on here, say what's up. Kind of missed you guys. Hope everybody had a good week. So I'm kind of missed doing the live stream. So what's new with you fellas? Same old?
Yeah.
You been getting the Camaro out? Is the temperatures finally go ahead?
I the first time.
Yeah? You gonna be ripping some quarter mile times?
I gotta break the rear end in first.
What is the break in on those?
I don't know.
Just went out
500 miles. But...
Oh really? Yeah.
Just send it. America.
That's what we do. That's right. Dirt. I'm loving the wig. I'm sorry, the mullet, skullet. What?
It's a hair transplant.
All natural. Is that what you say? It's known. Is oh my god, that's amazing. That's amazing. Derp grows hair. Love the mullet.
Red, white, and blue.
It's just better. It's just better when everybody commits.
Yeah, I was born I've been shaving it off, but I just didn't shave it one night, and boom, it came back.
Doesn't that feel better? Doesn't that feel better?
Every time I sit in my car, the mullet just springs forward.
Just pow right there in your face.
I hit my ass hits the seat, boom, mullet's back.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, on your guys' way in, if you would like the video, don't forget to check everybody's channel out. But most importantly, if you're going to be hopping in, calling in, you want to talk to us about whatever, throw your 2 cents in the till. Just make sure that you have a really good Wi-Fi signal. And but yeah, we'd definitely love to have you on. What's up, John Todd? Yes. I kind of curved my new ACS carbon fiber splitter when I was out shopping today. So
Nice.
yeah,
Quick.
that was good. Made my day. Really.
Took like what, 2 weeks to happen?
Yeah, approximately. Yeah. It'll buff out. I'm pretty sure.
I just hit it with some plastic dip.
Plastic dip. Yes. That is the traditional way. So, anyways, I kind of want to talk to now that I know Mr. Burley's in here. I wanted to kind of discuss the final edition Camaro as far as what we know. If you go back, you watch the Lethal Garage, he's got some good information as far as like the new braking stuff on the final edition Camaro, but let me just add it to the stream here. We'll go back up to the top. It says 2024 Camaro Collector's Edition to be available in coupe and convertible. Like, pretty sure we knew that. But this one is not going to be available in 4-cylinder. So if you were hoping for the inline 4 or whatever, sorry, man. Not going to get it. But this is from GM Authority. So it says 2024. The Camaro Collector's Edition has been currently revealed a very few details. So we're going to get the Panther in the R emblem. I don't know what you guys think. When you scroll down and you see that ZL1, it looks to me like the matte black wrap on the 1LE. And then on the fender, it looks like a totally different color. I mean, it could be my mind playing tricks on me. It could be, intentionally. What do you think, Dirt? Does that look like they're playing with the colors there or whatever? Or is that
shoddy Photoshop?
Yeah.
So they probably, like I said, that whole photo that they, a couple of their photos are just complete crap. I mean,
yes.
Where they copy pasted the wheels around, they did all sorts
yes.
of so they probably got, they probably opened up, Instagram, slid the little sliders around, and did a couple filters, and that's what they spit out.
Yeah, they got a couple. Yeah, you're probably exactly right. They've got a couple. I don't know what you want to call it here, but they've got like the jargon is weird. The language that they're using is kind of funky. So it says a few glimpses in the GM has given the 2024 Camaro. It's in its collector's edition guise. Show details such as a wing-like rear spoiler. What the hell does that even... I'm reading some of this stuff and I'm like, what does that even mean? It says a multi-spoke alloy wheel, which, I mean, we can all tell that's the ZL1 wheel. And it says the Camaro Collector's Edition pays homage to Camaro resurfacing ties that date back to the development of the first generation Camaro in the 60s, most notably the program's initial code named Panther. They did go on down here and say that they're kind of going to be nerding out on this a little bit, and they're going to be saying that it is. Where did I read that? It said it's going to be available in. So you're going to be getting the V6. You're going to be getting the SS, the V8, any of the 6.2 V8. That's going to be non-numbered or non-limited edition. I don't know how they're going to do it yet, but the ZL1 will be limited quantities. And I have a feeling that this is going to be like a ZL1 1LE replacement. That's just my personal gut feeling. But that will be a limited quantity. But I mean, the 1LE package, they've been kind of trying to stomp out anyways for the past, 6-8 months. Don't you guys think, or no? Is that just me?
It's already limited.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Anything under the full number of Camaros is limited. So, I mean, you could say 1,000 of them, that's the limited. The 1LE puts out, what, 600 a year, 700 a year, 800 a year, something like that? So
yeah, something about that. I thought it was right around 1,000. Yeah, that's very limited as far as I'm concerned. It's going to be a lot more limited than the Demon 170. Says the 2024. Let me see here. This is the important part, and this is kind of like the kung fu or karate of which you kind of have to dance around with the jargon or the language. And it says the 2024 Camaro will be the final model year in the 6th generation. But, and this is where I was right. This is where we were right a long time, well, I don't know, 6 weeks ago or maybe a month ago or whatever. GM has confirmed a new generation will arrive at some point in the future. So we are taking a hiatus. That's why we haven't seen any test mules. That's why we haven't seen anything new popping up. It says at some point in the future, possibly as a lineup of EVs. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not do that, Jim.
It's gonna be the Mach E Camaro.
Yeah. I hope it's a wagon. I hope they make a dump truck or something. Yeah.
It's gonna be an El Camino Camaro with
El Camino. Yes. Actually, I kind of do like El Camino, so I might be okay with that. But as long as it's gas. It says, as my reminder, the Chevrolet Camaro rides on the Alpha platform. Everybody knows that they've got the Alpha 2 already out. It says that the 2024 is scheduled to start in August. Now, there are some other channels that have broken down the actual date. And then they're going to be built at the Lansing plant, of which, if you go back a couple videos on my channel, you saw I visited. So it does look like... but I did read in here somewhere, if you guys hop on GM Authority or whatever, it looks like they are going to geek out as hard as to say that they're going to go back and use the original tires. They're going to try to use the original tires that they would in the 67 or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Mr. says, looks black fender with the silver. Yeah, it does. It looks different color. That's kind of the part where I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be a matte black car. Maybe it's all one color. Maybe it's photoshopped and they're just waiting to reveal. Not trying to be rude, but Derp is quiet.
But now
is the mic too? Wow, that is quality, my friend. That's pretty good. Testing. That's pretty good. Sound good to me. Oh, he sounds quiet to you?
Yeah.
Somebody comment in the comment section. Tell us if derp sounds okay. You sound perfect to me.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Yeah, let me see.
Yeah. Mr. Jenkins, Tracy Jenkins, good to see you, sir. It says, I think getting rid of the Camaro is a big mistake. I think it's a huge mistake. I think that they've got, like, as of right now, I think they've got the perfect lineup. It's kind of like Ford with the GT, but, you know, the Corvettes, or the C8's not $500,000, and they're not playing games as far as, like, you getting approved to, you know, actually have the opportunity to buy this car. But I think, you know, they got the GT car with the, how's it coming, Dirt? Something out of line there?
No, I'm just adjusting some of the settings on my mic. It looks like a firmware updated on me, and it reverted some of my settings. So does this sound any better?
Oh, yeah. Sounds just fine to me. Corey, is this sounding too quiet?
It sounds a little better now. I'm still not you're the loudest. I think you've done that on purpose.
That's par for the course. No. Tracy says, yeah, derp's a little low. Sounds like you're a little quiet, bud.
All right. How about now? Testing 1, 2, 3. America.
Can you hear me now? No, I think Chevrolet's got the perfect lineup now. Camaro, and actually, I think Camaro is the best car that they have in the lineup. You can still get it in the stick. You can tune it. What's that?
No, I think Camaro is one of the best cars they have, too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's reasonably priced. It's very obtainable for the average person. You can still tune it. You can still get it in a stick. I mean, they got a wide selection of engines as far as 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder, 8-cylinder supercharged. I mean, yeah. I understand the options are low, but that's, you know, for 60-some thousand for a Z01, at some point you're going to have to give up something. So I'm willing to give up options if they just... Tracy says, I just hope things get worked out on my... Yes. Yeah, how's that going, bud? Is everything still in limbo? So for those of you that don't know, we'll catch you up here. Tracy had and I'll probably be making a video on this when everything's all hashed out and ironed out, but Tracy bought a $56,000 Camaro. Ordered this car. I think, Tracy, what'd you say? It took 1.5 years to get it? Almost 2 years? Maybe. I can't remember, but I have to go back and watch our video. We talked about a lot. But he just had just under 300 miles on the car, and he sent it over to his specialist over at the body shop to get. Yeah, I'm getting a little feedback through you. And he says a year, and so he waited a year for this car, and finally got it back. Sent it over to his guru, which he trusts, to get paint corrected and PPF. I don't know if he was going to get PPF on it, but they found a burn-through spot where somebody at the factory, what I suspect is going to be from the factory, and I think they'd be happier if they saw mine. Be honest with you, bud. But yeah, he found a burn-through spot right around the sunroof. So you're talking a paint defect on a $150,000 car like that. You do not want to be sending that thing to a body shop and having any body shop to trying to fix that. It's going to devalue the car. How much? Nobody knows. But Tracy and I were talking maybe $20,000, $30,000 devaluation. But what's up, Alex? Don't think I didn't forget you, T. Browning. What's going on, buddy? It's good to see you. So that's gonna be instant in its own, and yeah, everything is up in limbo right now. And as far as Tracy's standpoint on the whole deal, he doesn't even want the car. He wants out of it. He wants a brand new one. And I'll be honest with you, I agree with him. I haven't seen pictures of it yet, but that's nothing that, it's going to happen in transport. That's nothing that's going to happen when they're detailing the car to prep it for delivery. Somebody burnt the paint at either SVE, which I don't think they do anything with the paint over there, or it happened at the plant. And I mean, when you see buffing compound along the ridge of the sunroof there, that's a dead giveaway. Somebody's been honing on it. And if you have a burn through spot, I am probably 95% sure that it happened at the factory. So I think they either need to take the car back, give them a new one, and make it right. Or, because this isn't just another SS or another Z01. This is a very, very special car, 1 of 50. So that's going to be interesting how that plays out. And I hope Tracy reaches out and keeps me up to date on it. So.
No, doesn't the Yenko, or what was it, Yenko SVE?
Yenko
does it? Don't they
do
some kind of inspection when they receive the car from GM?
You would think.
They convert it. Like, why would you do all this work on a car that is jacked up?
Yeah.
You figured a pro like that, a high tier company would see something like that on the car. Then before they went and put all this money into building.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm not going to take a receipt of something before I do all the stuff to it, and it looks like crap.
Yep. Yeah.
So, technically,
I don't even know if they saw it.
But I mean,
somebody dropped the ball.
Yeah. I mean, if you receive a car, how do you not see this? And then do all your work on it. You're holding this car for probably many months while they convert it.
Right.
How do they not note this and either get it fixed by GM or get another, or just reject it? Why would you not reject that and get another one?
Tracy saw it right away, and he thought it was bird shit or some kind of etching into the clear coat. I mean, unless you really know cars, or you've been around the body shop or any, you might, like I said, I haven't seen pictures of it, so I don't know how obvious it was or how big it was, or if it was just a little nick, but this is gonna be a fiasco. But you're right. I mean,
that shit got picked up as soon as they received it from GM. They should have, you would assume, for a car that's going to be $100,000+ car, they're going to be going over that with a fine-tooth comb, note any issues, and reject any car for defects. Why do all this huge amount of work on a car that's defective right out the door?
The thing is like when SVE takes possession of the car, they're charging the customer more than the value of the entire vehicle. So you would think, I'm with you, bud. I think you're right. I would think that somebody would go over that, taking video, taking pictures, because they only do 100. You know what I mean? 50 automatics and 50 manuals a year. So you would think that they would just go over every inch of that car with a camera.
Yeah, so, and you would think they would photograph the whole process as well.
Yes!
Just in case they had an issue, because...
Yes.
It's a $150,000 car.
Yeah, and then they're charging just the Yenko package is $82,000. Fill us in, Tracy. It's $80,000. Yeah. It says, my guy thinks it wasn't bird crap. He thinks it was some kind of contaminant, and the micro scratches were terrible. Yeah, like I said, send me, if you got pictures of it, send them to me, man. Well, I want to check that out. But that's gonna be a big freaking deal, because I don't see with the current car market and the way dealerships are acting now, I just don't see them taking it back. I see this being, it's gonna be fisticuffs. It's gonna be fisticuffs in court probably, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
It should go back to the last shop that had the car. They signed off on the car from GM. You can't really kick it back to GM because they signed off on it. They took receipt and they did all this work on it. And it's been in their shop for how many months? So it could have got contaminated technically at their place if they can't prove
it could have.
They received it in good order.
Yes. No, that's a very, very good point. Because how long did it sit at SVE? Months and months. Yeah. I mean, they could have cleaned it up. They could have. But I'm just thinking, like, you know, whoever burnt the paint. Says the burn spot you can't even see unless you use a sun gun. Okay. Well. This is going to be interesting. I see it going to court, but I mean, I'm just saying, I seriously hope everybody can you know, come to terms with this.
Was there for 3
What's
months.
that?
He said it was there for 3 months.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it may very well could have happened at GM, but if they received it, signed off on it, and accepted it, and then did the work on it, they're
partially responsible. They're partially at the minimum.
Just like when I receive a carbon fiber part in the mail, and I sign off on when I receive it, and they say it's all good, and then 3 months later I say, oh, never mind, it's jacked up. They're like, too bad you signed off on receipt. That's why you inspect your package. That's
an interesting point, because let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Tracy. If SVE took the car back, had a documented repair on your car alone, would that be sufficient? I mean, because they're the one that transformed it from an SS to a Yanko. So, I mean, if they had, if SVE had their blessing of any kind of body shop or in-house, whoever, I don't know how they run their operation. I haven't done a tour through it, but if they stepped up and fixed it, would that be satisfactory to you? Alex says, yeah, have SVE make it a convertible.
T-top convertible.
Wanna, baby, yeah.
T-top convertible.
Ooh, little Targa.
Yeah. T-top convertible. 101 T-top, only T-top 610.
There you go.
That'd be worth more money.
There you go. It'd be worth more money. As long as there's no devalue. Yeah, because, I mean, the thing is like, he's got kind of a cool story because, you know, they put the wrong emblem as far as the staging package on it, and he's got emails from the people at SVE. So, I mean, he's got documentation. He's got a lot of things going as far as, like, the cool story of that car. So, I really would like to see him have that car, but if you get a 2024, dude, that's last year. That's the last year of the the 6th gen. So, if it's the last gas Camaro, imagine how much that one's going to be worth. So, I don't know. I don't think he's in a bad position though. So, we'll see what turns of it. But other than that, the collector's edition, that one's gonna be. Are you still? Yeah. It sounds like it's same luck as me. So is everybody still well, I guess Corey never. It's been a while since we had you on, bud. I guess we haven't had your opinion of what the final edition Camaro is going to be. I guess it's kind of a good time to get it in because they're going to be revealing a lot more and more here soon. So, what do you think it's going to be a sticker package? What do you think we're going to get?
Stripes or stickers or not. I think I'm not that bad.
It's gonna be a reskin 50 gen, 50 anniversary reskin or whatever it is.
You think? Probably. You holding? I want to know what's going on with the wheels. I want that picture with the wheels. I think something else. There's something more to it other than that, but yeah.
Oh, well, the copy paste job.
Yeah, the little copy paste. Yeah, the little duplication of the front wheel, bringing it.
I doubt they're going to put some 6 pistons in the back. I have about a 0.01% chance of that happening.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, it made no sense to do something like that.
You don't think we're going to get any? Man, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I hear something new all the time, every day about this car coming out. But be honest with you, I'm more worried about the 7th gen coming in as far as us getting another gas. So I don't know, Alex. What do you think? If you're in the comments still, what do you think? Because they're going to make a limited quantity on the ZL1, but the rest of them not. How do you feel as far as us getting another gas Camaro? I feel pretty good. As far as the EV market, the sales are tanking. They're just not selling, dude. I mean, the volumes are dropping down. They're having to freaking just like put sale after sale. Hey, you said you have Derp, you said you have a buddy that's got a couple Teslas. Has a value crept? Has a value?
His
Go
crashed.
ahead.
He was mad because Tesla cut the price of Tesla. So he had the old price Tesla, and when Tesla drops the price like $8,000 or $7,000 for
okay.
Of course, now his used Tesla is worth $8,000 or $7,000 because nobody's gonna pay.
Yeah.
That difference, you're gonna eat that difference on your used car. But
for a used car.
But he rents his, like he has like I think 2 or maybe 3, but 1 or 2 of them he rents out like on those car share services. And
Turo and stuff like that.
Yeah, so he just had people driving around. And then his other one, of course, but then again, he got in a small accident. Somebody like hit the back of the car or something like that. And now that's a big nightmare on repair. So he's got to deal with all that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because some of the stuff like that, just like I think it's the EV Hummer or whatever. You get a hit in the tail light, it's like $10,000 for a tail light because they have like electronics.
Shut the fuck!
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They have all sorts of circuitry in the tail light module, so if you want to get a replacement, it's like $8,000 or something like that.
This whole EV thing is it's turned out to be an entirely different deal. What you think is just like it's gonna be an easy transition, it's not. I mean, $8,000 for a fucking taillight? Like, are you serious?
That's not even the worst. Rivian. Have you heard of Rivian?
There's more. There's more.
Rivian.
What?
Some guy was in a fender bender with a Rivian. They got hit like in the rear quarter panel or something like that. It took like I want to say 4 months, something like that, to get repaired. And it was something like $40,000.
What?
$40,000 repair bill.
Whoa! What? Wait! Whoa! What?
Yeah. Let me find the article. Rivian repair.
Yeah, that's fine. Tracy come in. He says, I think they should make the ZL1 like it was in the 60s and put an all aluminum engine in it for the ending since they're limited. That was I just made a poll today. And that was the poll today. So I said, do you think that they were all for the ZZ632? Now, the ZZ632 is a little extreme. I understand. But I think that it would be kind of nice to have like a special motor or something. You know what I'm saying? Some kind of send-off. But 20%, and this is more than I thought, 20% said, yeah, it might be possible. So overwhelmingly 64% said, nope, it's going to be way too expensive. But I think it would be actually kind of cool if they did something like that. But then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, if I wanted something from 1967, I would just go buy something from 1967 because they're still around. I mean, they're still in the market. Alex says, I think GM is waiting to see how Dodge. Yeah. They say the normal tractor is $180,000 and an EV is $500,000. What? Wait, what? Wow. Hey, that's a big difference, buddy.
It would make sense if it was like $200,000 and it had some crazy good range and they had good network to support it. Then it would make sense for stuff like big, trucking. Because you just drive it, you plug it in the truck stop, and if it could charge while they're down, and you could hop in it the next morning, out of your bunk, continue driving. It makes sense for trucking because then your maintenance costs, I'm guessing, would significantly be lower. Your usage costs would cost 3 times as much. Which would take 20 years to make that money up. I mean,
that's gonna be a long freaking haul to get that to balance out, buddy. Yeah, I mean $500,000. Hey, she's talking $500,000 for the I know Tesla made a semi. I've seen it, but I don't think anybody had specs on like what the range was, what the pulling capability of. It's just there was so much of the unknown. They just kind of, the EVs are like a skateboard. So you got your battery in a big tray, and then you got motors on the axles. Everything else is just whatever you want it to be built on top of that chassis. So they're all kind of like universal. It's just depending on scale or size. So as far as like the tractor trailer deal, man, I mean, I just can't see, especially in the cold weather, because these things go anywhere and everywhere. So I don't think that the tractor trailer deal is going to work out for them. I just don't. Because then what's next? Are jets? Are they going to be able to make airplanes? Nah. I mean, I just don't see it working out for us.
I think that they do have an EV airplane. It has like a 3-minute flight time or something like that. I think they tested it like 3 or 4 minutes or something like that. But,
wow. Wow.
I can see the semis, being feasible if they were comparative price, especially for like short range trucking. Like if you're in one area, you do your route, and then you can plug it in. If you can do one whole route with it, plug it in, and then it'll be ready, fully charged the next day, and do one whole route. It could hold the same amount. Yeah, sure, it would make sense.
Yeah, but I mean, it kind of goes back to like we talked about this in like the first live stream, and you were saying, if it's gonna play out, let the market play out. I mean, if it truly is a better transition for the economy, for everybody, then everybody's gonna gravitate to that product and they're gonna buy it. But it's just, I don't see this working out too well. I don't. T. Browning says, I've heard fire departments are gonna have special trucks to fight EV fires from crashes. I don't think. Do they have special, like the fuel, like, different fires have different fuels or bases that propel them? Are these EVs going to be something different? I guess I've never really lit a lithium-ion battery on fire or anything. I've never tried to put one out. That's going to be interesting to see. Like, there's a whole bunch of unknowns that this market's going to be playing out to where the point where it's like, okay, well, I didn't think of that. But I think that this whole transition or, whatever agenda they're trying to push down your throat, I think it's going to be very, very expensive for the economy. And I don't know if this is going to work out just exactly how they intended it to. Jason Duke says you're still low. Is that true?
What about now?
Yeah.
Is that a little bit loud? Is that a little bit better or too loud?
Yeah.
Let me see here. All right, what about that? Is that too loud or is that good?
I don't know. Tell us. We had a Jeep 4XE. I don't even know what that is. Rubicon 2021. Later had a battery range was not good. When it gets cold, it was useless. Yeah, it's Jason Duke says better.
Oh yeah,
I was waiting for it. No, the whole battery thing, I just don't see it. Corey, do you guys see any of these EVs up there a whole lot or no?
See the odd Tesla around.
Like just a few, or
could be the same one that I keep seeing.
I see a ton. I see a ton of Teslas around here. I mean, there's a ton.
Yeah,
there's a ton.
I mean, you're down there in a warm climate.
Yeah, it's a ton. I mean, Teslas are everywhere, and just Buc-ee's gas station added like 30 superchargers in the parking lot. So sometimes you'll see them just lined up, just charging.
Shout out Buc-ee's. Shout out Buc-ee's.
I mean, it's smart. They make their money on the storefront. They don't really make money on gas. So
never have.
They're just not ready yet. They gotta, like what we said before, they gotta let the market decide for one thing.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take time. If they want to go EVs, it's just gonna take a long time. They got to do something better with batteries.
Yeah. Like they were saying, it. Tracy says you look like Joe Dirt. He's look just like the dude. Does he look like the guy that dropped your Camaro off your Yanko, bud? Could have been.
Sorry, I spit my dip on the top of his car. My bad, bro.
Patooey, yeah. They've done the research though, as far as like dealerships and everything. These EVs are not as profitable in the service department or the parts department. So I mean, this isn't going to be like an easy transition of just unplug that and plug this one in. So I just don't see this working out too well. And you're exactly right, Corey. The capacity or just the technology they have in the batteries, it's not enough. It's not enough right now. So they're going to have to do something dramatically different, something entirely different, or something's going to have to change. So, yeah.
For a long time.
What's that?
We're going to be burning fuel for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why Chevy put... Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
They're just not ready. As simple as that. It's just a bunch of blowhards that are trying to push it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just need to run on freedom. Let's run on freedom.
Wasn't what we're doing now? Exactly. Isn't that what we're doing now?
Pure freedom. No, actually, they need to get that those roads that can self regenerate as you travel over the roads. Almost like a grid road with like panels or something. The roads actually can absorb energy, and then actually the car can absorb the energy from the roads and charge as you drive. So,
oh my god! Oh my god!
But we can't keep our roads as it is. So I mean, it's a dream.
You can't even fill out the potholes. Yeah, that's exactly right. No, the battery technology, it's going to have to do something different. Something's going to have to be entirely different for me to change or even consider it. So, and the market's reflecting that, because there's a ton of techie features in these cars that a lot of people you don't get in gas. So, and it's not working. And people just don't want it. I don't know if people just don't trust the government, but yeah, I think people are just gonna hang up. I don't know. Maybe financing isn't there for them. I don't know. But yeah, something's gonna have to change around. I just don't see EV being the future. I just don't.
I can see it being the future, but somewhere long way down. Not right now.
Yeah, as we continue getting, battery technology better and stuff like that. If you have say 20 years from now, and your EV is a better performer, your range is 1,000 miles on a charge, and you charge
that's entirely different
in 15 minutes. Then nobody's gonna get a gas. Other than the old guy in the corner sitting on his front porch, he'll have his gas motor, but nobody else is gonna get it if it's the same price.
Yeah.
It's just as easy to repair because, of course, right now, I'm sure that the dealerships don't even have the technicians who can work on most of the EVs. So you're going to have to retrain all your technicians to service all EVs versus gas. And another thing is parts. A lot of these EVs, you can't get them repaired because you can't get the parts for them. Like that Rivian I posted, it was a fender bender. It took I don't know how many months to finally get the part and to repair it. And it was $42,000 to repair it.
I want to know the reasoning of why it was $42,000.
Well, I posted an article in there. It was I guess once it got hit, all the stuff underneath, all the different, coolant hoses for the batteries and all that stuff's in there. You have to disassemble half the car to work on a fender bender.
I didn't even think of that, like solder joints if they get cracked or what. Oh, okay. I didn't even think of that.
And then they damage your battery pack. Oh, well, it's 6 months before you get a new battery pack. Sorry.
Yeah, that's $20,000 too. Yeah.
Yeah, you get it in a
Burley says. Yeah. Mr. Burley says, I agree. Just let the EV happen naturally. Don't force it. Hurry it out the door just because. I have a feeling the way it looks from my side of the fence is it looks like time is ticking and they're just trying to force this crap out just as hard and as fast as they can. Why? I don't know. There's zero benefit for the public, is from what I'm seeing. Alex says the problem is the EV had 100 years, and it's just not viable unless it's a little go-kart or something with overhead power lines. Yeah, there's some consistent source that it can feed off of. Yeah, no, you're right, and that's what I said. to me, an EV is that technology is capped out as far as like a man. It's a nice bike, ripping by. EV capped out at just a commuter car, A to B, to and from work. I don't see it replacing any fuel source or any kind. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to sit on the side of the road for almost an hour to wait for it to charge. If you think that the charging times or the charging cost is going to stay low, you're crazy, because the more and more people that feed off of it, the more and more they're going to start charging. It's just...
Well, now they're upping everybody who has an EV registration fees. So you're saving it, you're driving, but now they're adding a fee to your registration to counter. I've seen some places like a couple $100, on extra to more to counter because you're not paying gas tax now. That's how they keep the roads. And so now you go in there and you get a $1,000 registration fee every year to counter you saving money on gas. So really, it's a wash. And of course, gas prices are going up. I forgot what I saw. What it was. It was like 60 cents a kilowatt or whatever it was. It went up.
Yes.
So now charging your car at a charging station is almost as expensive as gassing up when the price. Of course, if gas prices could go up to $10 a gallon or whatever. So at that point, EV will be cheaper. But electricity prices are going up just as much as gas prices often. I know my electricity bill here is every year is going up or more.
And then you're still sitting on the side of the road for 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And and if financially it's going to be a wash. I mean, a gas car, you just pull in. I don't know what does it take to fill up? 60 seconds, 120 seconds. I mean, it's just the range. The range is not as good as a gas car. I think there's some SUV. What was it? A Jeep. They get almost 700 miles to a tank of gas, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I might be crazy. But
my buddy has a new, it's like a diesel Silverado truck, and it gets like, I want to say 600 or more miles on a tank, easy. And it gets and it doesn't cost that much to really fill it up. I mean, diesel I think right now is less than 93 octane, so it's, at least here it is. I think it was like $3.
Really?
I think it was like $3 a gallon for diesel when I saw it at Buc-ee's a couple days ago, and I think it was like $3.50 for 93.
Man, I gotta check this Buc-ee's out. This Buc-ee sounds like the promised land, kind of. I'm loving it.
Yeah, well, it's Buc-ee's now also getting affected by the inflation. Like, you want some beef jerky a couple years ago, it's like $6 a bag. Now it's like $9 for some damn beef jerky.
Here we go, right?
I'm just gonna buy some old boots and eat those instead.
Cut them up into strips. You'll never know.
Yeah.
You'll never know. Tracy says if you get vacation time, you may have to come take more than a week if you have an EV. Yeah. You might have. Oh, man. Depending on how far you go, maybe, I don't know. What do you think? Half a day? You're going to have to plan for charging?
Yeah, like EVs make sense for, like you said, daily driving, to and from work, from the grocery store. But if you have an EV, you almost have to have a gas engine car as well for if you want to go on trips or you want to go on an extended, anything.
Long range.
And every time I see anybody who does go on a long trip with an EV, they say half their anxiety from their trip is finding the chargers, finding a charger that's working. So you plan your whole trip, instead of like going sightseeing, your whole trip's based on charging stations.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I went on this beautiful trip and I saw 14 charging stations. They were beautiful. Here's a photo of a supercharger. Here's a supercharger at Buc-ee's. In the background you see the Grand Canyon, but no, here's a supercharger.
Yeah. While we were charging. Yes. Yeah. I don't see it being the future. I just don't. I mean, what do they call it? Range anxiety? I guess that's a real thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's not. What?
I watched a video recently. Now, whether the guy knows what he's talking about or not, it seemed like he knew what he's talking about. He said the carbon you save by using an electric car is not offset by the carbon that actually goes into making an electric car.
Correct.
I think I said it was like 6 years. It takes about 6 years or something like that to equalize.
Yeah.
Didn't they break it down to like, depending on the kilowatt capacity of the battery or whatever, it would take a different amount of time to break even?
Another thing to keep in mind is the slave labor that's used to get the materials for your battery.
Probably, I've heard.
GM don't use slave labor in their factories, but where these batteries come from, they do. Where they
is it the lithium mines?
Yeah.
That you're talking about? Yeah. I've heard about that. I haven't done any research on it, but I've heard, yeah. That's entirely true. I think I heard somewhere somebody told me I really should do more research on this, but I mean it's dead. I mean, you can see it. It's dead. It's like, why even sit here and mess with it? EV is like driving a regular car, but every year you drill a new hole. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because the degradation of the battery, that's a real thing. That's why they're breaking the battery down into modules, and they're trying to, like, it's a cell or whatever, however you want to think about it, but they're trying to, like, break it down to where they can maintain and replace these little things. That way you're not taking on some kind of big, massive financial hit to replace the battery. But man, I just, it's just as dirty, if not dirtier, to make a battery, maintain these things, and recycle as far as, like, trying to break them down to the waste. Tracy says South America isn't it I thought it was Africa that they had a lot of these lithium mines. I could be wrong. Was it Africa? Is that where you heard?
Pretty sure that's where most of it comes from, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes from there, and they don't really treat the workers the very best. They don't pay.
Oh, I'm sure they do. I'm sure.
They got a 401k. They don't throw you off a cliff.
Big ass pension too. Says Mr. Burley says hydrogen. I've said it all along. Hydrogen, you could retrofit all the cars. This is nothing new. I remember talking about this in shop class in the freaking 90s with my it's probably late 90s. And my shop teacher, when we were in woodworking class, was telling me about this hydrogen, and I did a little bit of research on it back then, and yeah, sure enough, it was true. And yeah, now we got a bunch of misnomers. What's that?
I had a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I don't know about E85, but if it comes from corn, it can't be that bad for pollution, is it? E85?
There are so many. Listen, I mean, as a resident in the state that produces the most corn for the rest of the country, well, North America, I'm telling you, the waste that was produced before we had E85 was tremendous, and that's how this came about as entirely was. They couldn't feed the stalks. They couldn't feed the husks. They couldn't. We had a bunch of leftover product from, just the year-end crop. So they decided to take all this and make it zero waste. As far as I know, like E85, you can make E85 from pretty much anything any kind of plant life that will decompose. And I think sugarcane works the best. I think they're yielding the best return. Now it's like 80. Now, as far as like labor, effort, worthiness to like what you get back, I think they were saying that you're like 85%, so you're still at a 15% deficit, but there's zero waste. And E85 burns cleaner than regular gas. I think if you have an E85 car with no freaking cats on it, it still burns cleaner than a car burning super unleaded 87, 88, 89 octane with catalytic converters. So and you're getting more power. So, I mean, go ahead.
Why would that be the answer? Then
what?
More power run on E85. Wouldn't that be a better answer than batteries?
Yeah, I mean, they're pushing these synthetic fuels, and I do have a lot of faith in it. I think Porsche right now is running a test of, I think they were trying to produce like 30, seeing how fast, efficiently, cost effectively they could manufacture like 30,000 gallons, I think is what they're going to run in the year of 2023 through a couple test mules. But as far as the synthetic fuels, I think it's perfectly fine. Jason Duke says cobalt mines are in Africa. Lithium is mainly from Australia. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some research on it. But from what I hear, what's that?
I said I wasn't sure. They probably ain't whipping too many people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're just big dickheads over there. But the synthetic fuel, I don't know why, and I can't figure it out, but they're having to introduce with hydrogen carbon monoxide or dioxide. I think it's carbon dioxide, CO2. And they're having to infuse it with the hydrogen at certain levels, but it's a carbon neutral because the amount of carbon you put into the fuel, you're burning exactly that out the tailpipe. So that they're calling it carbon neutral. So it's not like carbon negative or anything, but as far as I'm concerned, I mean, it's the way to go because you could have different cocktails of fuel. This could open up a lot of windows to like different kinds of race gases, all different kinds of cool stuff. It's just how cost effectively can you do it? You know what I mean? So
one thing about the E85 is it's heavily subsidized, which is what helped keep the price down, and it takes a ton of acreage. And when you up the subsidize like one crop, like corn or whatever, now instead of the cost of like food items or feed for animals now go up because farmers are now growing this extra subsidized crop, and so that then brings up the price of everything else. So it's kind of counterbalance. So you subsidize one crop, other crops now less are getting made. So if you do even more E85, of course, then food items and feed items will continue to go up more than already they do. And that's one thing when the government comes and intervenes, of course, it then causes these price swings. So now if if a farmer's going to make 3 times more money making crop for like E85 fuel, then of course they're not going to grow feed crops and other crops, food crops. And it's a lot of the big thing with it is a lot of acreage. It takes up a lot of space. It's got a decent amount of overhead to properly grow the crop, fertilize the crop, all the other stuff. That's why I don't think that's probably why they haven't gone 100 super all in on E85, just because it would if you wanted to fuel all the cars with E85, it would take the United States of America worth of acreage to grow that much crop, and of course our food prices will be 5 times more than what they already are. But like I said, my WRX was I ran flex fuel. I ran E85 mix, 60% usually, and it's definitely for especially forced induction type cars. It's definitely a significant power bump, but that power bump and it was a little bit cheaper, but your cost being a little bit less is also offset by your miles per gallon is less. So it kind of offsets. So what you gain from being a cooler charge is offset by I think it's a higher octane, like 105 equivalent or something like that.
Exactly.
But it's offset has less energy per gallon than I guess a gallon of gas. So that's all kind of. So you get 20% less cheaper, but you get 20% less mile per gallon. At least by WRX, I got maybe 15 or 20% less miles per gallon. But it was like an extra 50 horsepower, 60 horsepower for a little 4-cylinder. That's a pretty decent bump. So when I was just pure 93, I felt like I was in a dang slug because my car felt way slower.
Yeah. When you go from E85 back to 93, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So if I drained out if I used up all my E85, I couldn't find a station that had E85. That's another issue. Is right now there's not a ton of stations that have E85. So you're limited on where you could go. Some parts of the country have no E85, so that's more infrastructure stuff.
What a lot of people get wrong, and what a lot of people don't know, is from the root of the plant to the tassel of the corn stalk, they utilized everything. So, I mean, before, when you were harvesting corn, you were after just that yellow kernel. So you strip the kernels off the husk and you know, throw the rest of it away. They try to blend it up into feed and all the other stuff, but they're throwing it off into a bin and letting it ferment and rot. So now the entire plant is being utilized, and that was kind of the whole deal for they kind of stumbled on this. That was the golden ticket, was, oh my god, well, there's going to be zero waste. So, you know, and then they found out different plants and different kind of crop that they could make this ethanol blend from. So, and like I said, I think sugarcane is working the best so far, but that was the entire thing that inspired the whole ethanol freaking craze anyways. So as far as like what I remember being up here, Alex says the whole carbon argument is flawed. All life is, yeah, the planet cleans itself, man. I mean, the whole cycle of trees, what do you think they feed off of? I mean, yes, I agree 100%. We breathe oxygen, exhale CO2. Yes. Now, as far as like, I think people, the human race needs to be responsible about it. I mean, I think that goes without saying. I think everybody.
Yeah. I mean, if we strip all the trees out, then we're gonna.
Yeah.
If there's no trees left,
then we're screwed in a generation or two. I mean, that's just stupid. But there's no real way to calculate what the planet can consume and turn around. But I mean, yeah, as far as like oil generated from the earth, CO2 filtered by the earth. I mean, otherwise, hell, we'd have been screwed probably a long time ago if we've had fossil fueled cars on the road for what, over 100 years now. I think EST87 committee says one of the biggest lithium fields is in Mexico. I didn't know that. It says, so do your research on what's going on there. I'll have to check it out, dude. I will. Like I said, these lithiums, I mean, it's a dead technology. I can see it. It's a dead technology as far as being a replacement. Now, I think it's an okay complement or addition to, but as far as replacing fossil fuels, nah, it's not going anywhere. I mean, even GM said that we're going to be burning gas for decades to come. I mean, that's why they took $1 billion and invested it into developing this new V8, right? So I don't know. Yes, sir.
What killed the Camaro?
What killed the Camaro?
GM.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
no,
I mean,
for real.
Yeah, their biggest.
Yeah.
They didn't.
What's the root cause of the?
Well, they didn't really advertise it that much. When they redesigned the 6th gen, they didn't separate it from the 5th gen enough. And then when they redesigned it, they kind of just went with what Camaro owners what they wanted, versus a kind of a bigger group. So when they did like surveys and stuff, they asked Camaro people like, oh, what would be a better Camaro, instead of asking everybody what's a better Camaro muscle car. So that's how you get now the people complaining about the too narrow of the window, side windows, the visibility, and then they had a couple other stumbling blocks. Yeah.
You said it right there. I think that's what killed the Camaro was the low roof line, the bad visibility.
I honestly think because me, after buying it and driving it, I'm so used to it. It doesn't even bother me now.
But see, you can't just rely on Camaro guys to sell enough Camaros in a year. Now, if you're not a Camaro guy, you just want a sports car. You see the Camaro, the Dodge.
Yeah.
And you look at Camaro and say, well, I like the looks of that better. Never sat in a Camaro before. You sat in it, you can't see. What are you going to do? You're going to go either buy a Dodge Challenger or you're going to buy a Ford Mustang, which you can sit in those cars and it's just like sitting in a regular car. You can see real well out of it.
Yeah.
I think that's where they went wrong. They should have lifted the roof line of that car by an inch or two and then lift the seat an inch and it wouldn't hurt the looks of the car at all. And you'd be able to get them buyers who aren't hardcore Camaro. You get what I'm saying? Like,
interesting. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, or even if they sliced into the door and dropped with the window, like, you know, and made more
line.
opening. Instead of, you wouldn't even have to raise the roof line. You could just drop, the belt line of the window lower down. And I think that would have opened up the visibility. Or had the camera, rear mirror camera, if they would have had that ready to go on the release of the 6th gen, those first reviews, when you just got the normal rear mirror, you can't see anything out the back. But once you get the camera replacement, I can see better out the back of my car than my wife's Mustang. Significantly better. And then you couple that, all of them should have blindside as a standard option for all the cars, not as an add-on. So that with the rear mirror, I see much better around my car, other than the front, like going through a drive-through, than my wife's Mustang. And she has a 2019.
And a little orange light.
Yeah, so between the blind side and the mirror, I can see better than my... Now, of course, my wife's Mustang is a convertible, so if I drop the top down, of course, I can see better at that point. But it's like I can see much, much better with that combination. Now, the GM being cheap hurt them. If they would have had the camera ready to go on 2016 and would have blindside on all cars, just as a standard safety option, less issues. Yep. And then they should, of course, added a front grille camera for pulling into parking spots or drive-throughs or something like that, because they have the technology on all their... I think even the Corvette has it. Like the Z01 1LE splitter and stuff like that, going through a drive-through is like a dangerous game. And so an average person, they're not going to want to drive this car into a parking spot or anything like that. Yeah. Give them a camera.
Yeah.
It's like a $50 camera.
Or parking sensors. Or, I think you nailed it right there. I was just about to say that. If you made what do you think, Corey, if they made like blind spot monitoring and front and rear cameras? Alex says, "Get curbed." Welcome to 1996, everybody.
Well, I just use a real big one of those
curb feelers, baby.
I use a blind cane. I just hold the cane out the window and I tap around while I'm going through the drive-thru, tapping around.
Wait for it to scratch.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm good.
Oh, there it is. Yep, found it. No, oh, there you go. John Todd. I think he's got 2 of them. Challenger's quite a few blind spots as well. Yeah. I can't really speak on it. I'm telling you right now, the sail panel right behind the back seat, the real estate from where the rear quarter glass wraps around to the back glass, it's massive in the Challenger. My neighbor Chad, he's got a Scat Pack, and every once in a while I'll ride in it, and you take a look around. It's just insane how different it is, but the windows are taller. It kind of does give this effect that it's a bigger car.
Well, that's the thing with the Camaro. Some people have that claustrophobic feel when you get in the Camaro cabin. The other cars could even have more blind spots, but they don't feel as claustrophobic, and that's a big thing.
Yeah.
A lot more women drive Mustangs because of some of those aspects. And the way Ford has always, sold it. Now, if you're GM is pretty much doesn't care about, the women drivers, of course, and that's half of your potential market. Like, how many women actually drive a Camaro? Very few. Many drive a Mustang, as do guys. So if you're already pretty much almost cutting out half of your potential buyers, you're already, that's a big number of your numbers. That's a big part of your numbers.
Well, I mean, you're the perfect person to ask this. There is being the owner of a Camaro and a Mustang, which one do you prefer to drive?
I prefer my car, of course. Yeah, my Camaro. If the weather's nice. Yeah. I drive my wife's Mustang if the weather's bad. Yeah. But that's not because of how I handle it. That's just because I don't want to get my car dirty. But but like I said, with the blind spot and then the camera mirror, I see better driving my Camaro. But I do with her car being it's a little bit more open of a cabin. That car is and it's not as low. I can go through drive-through. I don't even take my car through drive. I don't even attempt to take my car through drive-through because I don't want to hit nothing.
Yep. Yeah,
and those are stuff like GM could have spent $100 extra and could have solved a lot of those issues. And like the one that he mentioned, where that side window, I think it looks good, but many drivers You know, that's half of the claustrophobic effect is from that being so high. And people trying to ride, you know, you're like, right, hey, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, you are.
Dislocate your shoulder trying to hang your neck. So if they would have just dropped that, you know, they could have transitioned it, you know, off the, you know, on the APL, just had a nice transition and then drop it straight across and then bring it up, you know, and it could have worked out fine and still look good and not affected the performance. Maybe it's because the crash bar has to be there or something. I haven't opened up the panels on those. But I'm sure they could have massaged the crash bar slightly different to lower another couple inches.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those intrusion beams, the intrusion beams that run through the doors, they can manipulate that. Some of them run crossways, some of them run, or diagonally, I'm sorry, and some of them run straight across. They can manipulate that to freaking run any way, each way they want. I don't know why they did the belt line the way they did, but honestly, I think, well, Skydog Pigpen, he come in, he says, the good point is the mirrors, the aim down on the ZL1. I don't know if they do on the 2SS, but that's also a good feature that really helps me out a lot, is sometimes, you know, seeing the lines and everything. I don't know if SS has it, though, so, but yeah, ZL1, the mirror aim down feature is awfully nice. But the thing that the one reason of why I think Camaro died or is going extinct is because of GM and their hyper focus on Corvette, and they just kind of put together Camaro and just threw it off to the side just because it's like always been there. You know what I mean? I think they utilized their money well in designing the Alpha platform, the Alpha chassis, and they kind of gave you a really good start as far as like having an amazing car, but there was no marketing. And you know, it's we all know that marketing turns into hype. Hype online, everybody wants to, you know, fit into some kind of community which they feel they can relate to, and if there is none, you're not selling shit. You know what I mean? As far as them planning on YouTube and everybody to do their part as far as pushing the brand, pushing the car, and, you know, telling them how amazing it is, if you don't have the manufacturer putting faith or putting financial backing behind, you know, giving something that the community to bite onto or latch their teeth onto, you got nothing. You got nothing. So, I mean, I do blame Chevrolet. I think that, you know, they just, I don't know if they didn't allocate enough budget to the Camaro, but yeah. Well, I think they could have. Go ahead.
I was just saying, you can't drop the ball right out the gate. So there, like I said, there are issues being too claustrophobic when the 2016 release, not having the mirror camera set up, not having the blindside standard, and they'd be really cheap on standard options. Like you don't get like my wife's Mustang. It's an EcoBoost, so it's a four. So it's not like a freaking high end 350 or GT 500. But her car, she has footwell lighting. It's part of her, you know, just her normal package. She even has the mirrors that shine down like a Mustang logo on the freaking ground. The little lighting and like in the door handle. This, you know, fees that are pretty much part of, I guess, maybe it's part of the premium pack, but it's like a very small price package. Camaro, if you want footwell lighting, it's like you have to add a specific option to add it or add it yourself, and it's like a couple $100, like $300 or something crazy. You don't have no fancy mirror effect, you know, like a lot of people like those, what do they call it, like courtesy light, you know, like I said, the Mustang shows a dang logo on the ground. Camaro does nothing.
Oh, the puddle lights?
Yeah.
Like,
so you go to the door, it shines a pony on the ground, you know, it's a standard option. And so since, you know, Chevy, they didn't differentiate enough from the 5th gen, so a lot of people say, well, what's the point of upgrading or getting a new car? Because it's literally the same car. Yeah. And then they said that, and then you get those first initial reviews and claustrophobic, it doesn't have, I can't see nothing. And then that sticks with the whole generation. So if you you slip up out the gate, you have now fouled the entire lineup until the next generation car, because now everybody's going to see those initial reviews and say, oh, it's
that's a good point.
Can't see nothing. I'm not buying this car. You know, they don't look at it. And then they stumbled on the 2019 with the funky front end, which then got more bad, you know, issues. And then the issues with the 8.8 transmission. They should have came out right with the A10 out the gate instead of, you know, doing an 8-speed for a couple of years and switching it. And then they have all the shutter issues. first thing you hear about people complaining about shuttering transmission. So, don't get a Camaro because the transmission's crap, or don't get a Camaro because if you have a V8, the oil pump's going to break.
They were working with Ford the entire time, co-developing this transmission.
Well, they had the transmission in the ZL1,
and then we stuck to.
No, that's what's weird. They had the 10-speed out the gate,
yeah,
only in the ZL1. They should have done the stripped down, the slightly weaker version with all of them from day one instead of doing some weird 8-speed. Then now everybody's like, do I want to get the Mustang? Oh, 10. That's got a 10-speed.
Yeah,
10's better than 8. The Camaro's got an 8-speed, so obviously the Mustang's a better option because 10 is better than 8. I'm getting that one.
And you can't see out of it, so screw that thing.
And then you can't be stagnant. Like I said, Dodge has always been more, bringing out more horsepower. Better names, better catchy phrases, better commercials.
But they market. They're masters at marketing and pushing attitude and hype. And, you know what I mean?
But they do stuff to the car to actually sell in a marketing campaign. Like Chevy's like, what's their market going to be? Hey, this car has the same horsepower 6 years ago. Pick it up now.
Yep.
Like, no, you need to add at least like 5 or 10 horsepower every couple of years on the model, so you can say, now we're if you're you're shopping muscle cars, a lot of people just look at numbers or look at those times on like, I'm gonna get the Mustang now because it has 5 more horsepower than the Camaro, or it's got whatever, because the Camaro's been the same this whole time. They should have added 5 or 10 horsepower. They could have figured out how to up the power level every few years. They should be 500 right now on the SSs. They should be 700 on the ZL1s probably at this point. And they could have done it easily, but they're being cheap. They didn't want to have to then probably, I'm guessing, even minor change, you have to then re-emission, test it probably, certify it probably, and all that fun stuff. And they're just being cheap, so they didn't do any of that stuff. So now their numbers at the beginning sounded good, but they had the other stumbles, which then prevented it from selling real good. And then they never got any better. So somebody's like, why am I going to buy a 2024 when I could just get the same car from like 8 years ago?
Well, Dodge always had this, they would have like the Hellcat, and then they would introduce some kind of like high performance, you know what I mean? Some high performance model, and then they would graduate some parts down. And it would create this buffer zone to where there was some wiggle room, some playroom, and there was a little bit of flavor, variety within that same lineup. And they can continue this on for like years and years and years, because when did the Hellcat come out? 2015. So you're coming up.
Yeah, their chassis has been the same for how long? And they're smart because minor tweaks. They can just keep doing minor tweaks, slightly different variations, and each time you have a new marketing campaign. Get the new fire-breathing demon version, with 12 more horsepower. Like, I'm gonna sell. Everybody wants to buy one now, and that gives people also who already have one a reason to maybe sell theirs and buy the slightly better one. Versus Camaro, like, well, why sell my 2017 ZL1 for a 2023 ZL1 when they're literally identical? Only difference is if you went from, if you had a ZL1 1LE at the beginning without the auto and you wanted one with the auto. That's like literally the only change the ZL1 did was add the auto to the ZL1 1LE. And then if you want a different color, who's going to buy? Color. Yeah, you do color. Everything else is identical. Then I guess the infotainment center got a minor tweak. That's another thing. The infotainment center should have been like, maybe it should be by now, it should be like a 10-inch screen at least. 8-inch screen? Come on.
But when we built that one online, it was literally like 4 or 5 boxes that you could check.
Yeah, like, do you want nav? No nav. Yeah. Do you want that? And then, do you want the carbon fiber dash panel or not the dash panel?
Yeah, you can do that in your driveway at home easy within like 20 minutes. So
cheaper.
Probably because I was seeing them on. I think GM charged me $500 to do that one option, and then I
it's like 200 later, 200 something bucks.
Yeah, $280 or something on eBay, free shipping. I'm like, that's awesome. So that's why I still, to this day, I have people emailing me, should I buy this ZL1, should I buy that? And it's like, dude, anything 2019 and up, they're all the same. All the TSBs, the oil pump problems been fixed, all the little issues and the little hiccups, 2019 and up, they're going to be the same. If there's a particular color you want, now you know which one to get. So... Dirt, did we lose you?
No, sorry. I had a
Okay.
wife was heading out the door.
okay.
Shopping. I went shopping.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I told her I needed some new hairspray. My mullet's starting to get a little.
Some little Aquanet.
Yeah, gotta get this thing fluffed up.
A little fizz. Yeah.
No, like I said, yeah. I mean, I'm not like Rip Roaring was saying. Like, yeah, you don't want drastic change during the generation, but you want some steady change to either have a marketing campaign. You can't have a new marketing campaign on the exact same car from 6 years ago. Like, we're gonna be like all new, nothing, but it's really good because it's always been good. We know the car's good, but if you're trying to sell a non-Camaro driver, you're trying to bring people from other muscle cars or people who think about a muscle car. You have to have, and then a lot of people maybe not everybody, but there's a portion of people who do look just at numbers and bragging rights on the form. Like, I'm not getting this because the Mustang has 5 more horsepower, bro. I mean, that's so much better.
Yeah. Sales numbers, all the numbers. Yep. Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with you. Yeah. And we got nothing. I don't know why General Motors doesn't listen to their customers. I don't know why they take the time to even push their own product. But, I mean, as far as Camaro goes, unless it was Copo or it was Yanko, we didn't hear nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there were no new versions at all. I mean,
they didn't even talk about new colors. They didn't talk about. I never heard anything online about when the Shock came in, the Shock Green, or when the Orange Crush came in, or Rapid Blue. I heard nothing. No advertisement, no marketing, no nothing. I mean, they saved every ounce of it for Corvette, worrying about seatbelt colors and what you're going to get your Squircle wrapped in. That's the only thing that I heard for this entire time was Corvette. So.
Oh yeah, and then the very lowest model Camaro, which a lot of is probably normally when you have these cars, like how many Charger base models sold? Probably more than half of all the Chargers, but the Camaro base model is pretty crappy. I mean, you got those super cheap plastic.
Is it? I haven't even been in it.
Have you seen the plastic knee pads? They're like this a piece of freaking plastic. Looks horrible. Yeah. They couldn't have spent an extra $1 to make it look a little bit nicer. I mean, if you wanted even your base model to be relatively decent, and then that 6-inch screen or whatever they had, that should not even be a thing at all. Yeah. Just like that super cheap gauge cluster should be a thing. That you should have a decent gauge cluster. I mean, it doesn't have to be a super fancy infotainment screen, but if the average,
I didn't even know.
The gauge cluster has got like 2 little center gauges, and then your speedo and your RPM gauge. That's it on the basic gauge setup. Yeah, and then your infotainment. I'm not sure if they still offer, but at least 2016, you could get. It's like literally like a little tiny phone screen in the middle of that big. I mean, if it's shaped to fit a certain size screen, don't stick a smaller screen in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Because
you would think they would save money by building one and just putting it in everything.
Well, they figure they save $4 on the difference in the cost of the screen or whatever it is. But technically, you're probably going to want at least probably more than half of your buyers are going to be base model, the cheapest version, just to say I have a Camaro or I have a Charger. Yeah. Don't be super cheap on that stuff.
How many of them are going to Hertz? You know what I mean? How many are you going to have one customer buying like 20,000 or rental units? And I didn't even know about the 7,000 or 8,000 RPM difference in the tachometer until you sent me a picture of it, and I was like,
yeah. So that
I didn't know
after looking at that, that was the 4-cylinder. I guess the 6-cylinder's got the taller RPM gauge. 7,000
or whatever.
Yeah, that's just because those motors. I guess you can rev them up more than the V8s. So that was what some people were trying to say. Oh, look, it's got a different tag. It goes to the 8,000 RPM. This must be a new motor coming in the collection edition. And it turns out it was just a gauge cluster from the 4-banger Camaro.
A bunch of people freaking trying to create hype. Which, well, God bless them. I guess that they did a better job than GM did. But I mean, I agree with you. I've never personally. I've never been in a V6 and I've never been in a 4-cylinder. I've only, fortunately, I mean, I can't really complain that I haven't been in a lower base trim. But I've only been in the SS and the ZL1, so I can't really. Maybe I should go rent one.
Well, I think actually, now I think about it, a couple years ago, I think my wife rented a Camaro convertible, and it was like a base, it was like a 4-cylinder. I can't remember if it was a 4 or 6-cylinder. This was maybe 3.5 years. It was before I think I even had my Camaro, and we rented it when we were in San Antonio. I was here for work. We hadn't relocated yet, and she came
you
to
drove
visit it. And she drove it, but I rode in it. And I mean, I think there's significantly less Camaros at rental places than Mustangs. I see a lot more Mustangs as an option. So that's another big. I'm not sure how they count that for sales. If rental sales is counted in overall sales, I'm not sure how that's handled. But like I said, you see, that's the big thing with Camaro. They didn't, have enough, I guess, corporate deals with rental companies because it's not as the way they built the car. It's not as good of a car to rent unless it's just for leisure. But who's going to want to get a Camaro at the airport and drive it to wherever the hotel just as a fun car? But also, for them, it'll probably be inconvenient. Because now a lot of people complain about the size of the trunk opening. I can't fit my luggage in the trunk. I'm sure they could have freaking modeled that a little bit better to open up the trunk a little bit more, but that was one big complaint people had. It's not a good driver because daily driver because I can't fit my 45-pound suitcase in the opening of the trunk.
Yep. I mean, stupid little stuff like that matters though. Yeah. And I honestly think that people that were buying Camaro either have had Camaros forever, a GM fan, or they were just, or it was people that actually knew like specifications of a car that they like, and then they got feedback from the chassis and it being so good that they actually took the leap and spent the money. Because a car is a big financial decision. So I mean, it's going to take a lot for a person to change from one team to the next, I think. So, I honestly, I think a lot of it was trends, maybe. Like, as far as, like, being on YouTube and reading reviews and seeing what everybody else was driving. And I honestly think just Dodge being a bigger car and having more in-cabin room really helped them out. But, yeah. I think it comes down to Camaro Mustang, really, but I think Mustang's been always the car that they look good, they make it look pretty, but every Ford I've ever had, it's always looked the part, but it's never really held together like a Chevy has. So that's kind of why I went the route I did. So I'm kind of happy I did. So that being said, how many miles do you have on that Mustang?
60,000, I think it is now.
And you bought it new?
No, my wife bought it used.
How many miles?
I think I had like 20 something, 30, maybe 30,000.
Okay, so you put the majority of the miles on it.
She did. She put most of the miles on it. I probably put a few thousand on it.
Yeah, I wonder. Has shit been breaking? Is it?
No, I mean, I had any issues with. It's a couple issues with the Mustang, but nothing serious. Main issue is rear quarter panel windows. I guess it's a common issue of Mustangs. They stop working, or they don't. Yeah. They don't raise all the way up and sync and line up with the other window. So they had to replace like the motor for that. But other than that, I mean.
But you don't have any problems like the dash pad peeling up or lights going out or any like mechanical issues.
No, other than like that little motor issue. But I do all the oil changes on it. I changed the diff fluid on it. It's a 10-speed. It's got the 10-speed in it. Shifts pretty good.
There you go.
I mean, so no major problems with it. And like I said, it's a premium EcoBoost, so it has like the leather seats. And the leather seats, of course, are roomier than my ZL1 Recaros, which are much grippier, and so that's another thing. If you are shopping and you're a bigger guy, then you might not even fit in your seats if you want a Camaro, the highest end Camaro. But I believe I've never sat in the like the 500 or whatever. I believe those seats are a little bit more room, a little roomier than like the ZL1 seats. So let's say you're 6'5", 300. You might want the ZL1, but you can't fit it. I have a buddy. Yeah. He bought a Camaro ZL1. He's a big, tall guy, pretty big guy. He sold it like a few months later because he couldn't fit in the seat comfortably.
Uncomfortable?
Yeah. Yeah. And so he got a truck now, but he could fit like in the Mustang seat much more comfortably. And it's easier to get in and out of the Mustang as well.
Yeah. So I guess from what I'm observing is if people see that the reliability is about the same, the price is about the same, you know, why not go with the one that, I mean, if you're not mechanically inclined and you don't geek out on specs and horsepower and certain aspects mechanically, and you don't know about that kind of stuff, you're gonna go with the looker, the one that offers the lighting, the blinds, the one that has all the features for the same amount of money. I really don't blame the general public, but I honestly think that might have something to do with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I had to choose between the 4-cylinder turbo Camaro or the 4-cylinder EcoBoost Mustang, I would probably take the dang Mustang EcoBoost version. It's just a better motor, in my opinion. It has pretty decent performance. It gets up and moves. The 10-speed, it has multiple. You know, I can go sport mode. I can sport plus mode. It's got the full digital gauge cluster. It's got, you know, so you could add like a small package for a small amount of money on the base thing and add like leather seats, all the extra lighting, the nice gauge cluster. Versus if you get the base for the same price Camaro 4-cylinder, I'm pretty sure it's slower than the EcoBoost. Is it? I'm pretty sure it is. I can't remember the horsepower and the numbers on the Camaro, but I'm pretty sure it's slower than the EcoBoost. You get the crappy gauge cluster that just looks like, you know, it looks like a car from 10 plus years ago. And you don't get any of the extra features. Like hers even has the stupid, you know, you drive up on lanes, departure stuff. It has, you know, blind spot, and it's, I think that fully, like with the premium package and that stuff and the whatnot, it's probably the same price. I think it's a stripped down 4-banger Camaro. Like I would take the Mustang, and I'm a Camaro person. I would take that car over the. You know, the Camaro just didn't offer enough right out the gate on their base model to make it super competitive. And if a big part of your sales are to people who are buying the base model, very small portion of it's buying the ZL1s and the freaking 2SS out of all your cars.
I don't know the exact numbers, but I know it's pretty high. Yeah, as far as like 4-cylinder and V6 models, I know it's pretty high. And I think that's why they created the LT1, was to try to get people into that that next step up.
And that was just too late. They should have had that out the gate.
100%.
2016.
You're right.
And they should. Yeah. But even that LT1, like even that one, they should have gotten a decent gauge cluster, I think, on that thing, and probably better tires out the gate for that car. Because if people buy that, it's the V8 that has too much power for those those horrible tires they put on that thing.
Almost dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, what do you?
The brakes are really small. The tires way too skinny. The compound isn't sticky enough on those tires. It's just, I appreciate the sentiment behind it, and thank God hasn't been too many people going out there and freaking wrapping around a telephone pole. But I've got a lot of emails from people saying that it's just like way too much car for the setup that they put it on.
Yeah, so, I mean, if they want, they should have released that in 2016, but they should have based it off the 1SS model, but then just stripped out the extra, like they should have just put like cloth seats in there. They should have no fancy Bose sound system, and got rid of all the any extra cool. I'm not sure what all extra cool you don't really need, and maybe and that could have brought the price down probably just as much than basing on the V6 car or whatever, and then just adding a motor to it, which now is too much for the wheels and tires. And then, like I said, they should have had some of those safety features out the gate. The blind spot should have been on all of them, and the mirror, and of course they shouldn't have named the freaking model LT1. That's just another bit of confusion on nobody like, oh, an LT1, is that the motor? Like, but it's the model and the motor.
Yeah, you'd almost been better off naming it V8.
And then what's the other? What's the V6 one? Like the L1T or something like that, or what is that?
1LT.
Yeah. So now we have the LT1, the one. So how are you getting these buyers who are not Camaro people into the door? They have no idea what you're talking about. Like, get the 1LT with the LT1, but the LT1 is the LT, but it's not the SS, but it's not it's not a V6. It looks like a V6, it's not a V6. It's like,
in black, please. Wrap it up. Put it up.
I'll take three.
Unless you know the GM code, Now, I mean, there's a certain language that you got to be like proficient at, but yeah, I can honestly see it, and I think that's how like Dodge did it better with giving it names. You know what I mean?
Like, oh, get the Tyrannosaurus Rex 9000. Like, oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Get the Anaconda 50, bro. That thing's sweet. Yeah. What does GM got? Oh, we got the 3L957. Really good car, man. I swear to God. It's SS.
9. Yeah.
Which is like the SS. Hey, buy this SS. Oh, what Camaro SS? No, it's SS.
Yeah.
Monte Carlo? No, it's just called SS.
Yeah.
It's next to the LT1, but it's not the 1LT.
Yeah.
Like, what?
You get it?
Yeah.
You get it? Do you understand now? Yeah. Okay,
and of course, that car didn't sell for crap, so it went out the door. How quick did that take to go away? Well,
and nobody knew why. Again. Yeah. No, sir. Well, we're about an hour and a half now. Probably be wrapping things up here. What, you guys have any plans in the future for your channel? Corey, I'm excited to see. I want to see these gears, dude. I'm so pumped. You don't even know. I was kind of let down in the fall last year when it started snowing on you.
You might see me on the line breaking them.
Yeah, that's all right. Hey, you promised us last fall you're just gonna send that, so I'm gonna hold you to it, buddy. So, can you tell us what quarter mile time did you leave us off with last year? Was it a 12.5?
Yeah, 12.5, 12.46.
12.46.
That's the 12.46.
And you're only guesstimating you're gonna get a half a second with these new gears?
No, I ain't gonna get no half a second now.
Oh, come on!
I'm guessing somewhere between 1 and 2 tenths. Probably be about all I'll get.
Oh man. Well, we're gonna be watching.
It's not like if I had a 4.6 Mustang and made that jump in gears, it would make quite a difference. But then the LS1 Camaro, it would be a little less. Probably 1 or 2 tenths. That's what we're going to find out. I'd like that. You go on the internet, 100 different answers. So.
That's right. That's until you put the draggy and run it down the strip or run it down the street, you never know. So, well, Mr. Dirt, you're going to get them BMR parts on? I'm excited to see that, too.
Yeah, one of these days. I got a small fortune of suspension parts sitting on my workbench. It's been sitting there so long, it actually has a layer of dust on the part, but I think that's actually preventing them from getting scratched, so it's like a protective layer, ceramic dust coating on it.
Ceramic
Yeah, it's really good, but I'll do that eventually. I've been messing with my Explorer a lot lately, because I blew my transmission on it.
Again?
No, that one time, a couple months ago.
Okay. All right, yeah.
So I of course dropped the transmission pan. Of course, those cars, no drain plug on the pan, so of course you have to like freaking balance it and spill transmission fluid everywhere. And then I actually rebuilt the transmission valve body, which fixed it 95% of the way. But because the transmission's so old, I couldn't get some of the. I couldn't get some of the accumulators. Because when you pull that transmission and stuff, you're supposed to replace the accumulators. They're like wearable part, and they're like a rubber, so they break down. They tell you you're supposed to replace it. I couldn't find them anywhere. So now the car drives and shifts good, other than the first couple minutes of when I start the car up. It kind of hangs in neutral for a few seconds before the first couple like stop signs I get to. Then once it warms up, it rides good. And probably because my accumulators are freaking worn out, and maybe I don't know, having issues. So it's not shifting the first couple times very well. So I'm kind of like rolling, kind of hitting the accelerator a little bit, then it starts shifting. I drive good.
Does that piston have to like expand or swell or something? Or?
Well, I don't even know what it's supposed to do. I just it's like some kind of valve looking thing. Like I said, I watched YouTube video on how to rebuild the valve body, and that's what I did. As far as delving it, I was just praying that's gonna fix it, because if you've seen those photos of the valve body, it looks like a damn freaking maze. It's got a million freaking things. And I did I forgot what some kit, and I replaced all the little everything on the valve body, and then you have to put all the check balls in there and all this other stuff, and all the gaskets are blown out. So I replaced all that. It shifts now, drives good, but it's not 100%. I'm
impressed.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
I'm glad it went. I was worried that it was going to be something with the inside of the not the valve body, and then I was going to have to drop the whole transmission down, and then watch a YouTube video on how to rebuild the whole transmission. Which I'll get it working. I'll get it done. But it's such a mess. The transmissions. A lot of people who rebuild, they have a whole dedicated workspace for this because it's transmission fluid everywhere.
Is that a 4R70W or?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's like 20 iterations of that transmission.
That's what I was just about to say.
Everything from the plug harness inside the transmission is different. Then it's got all the little components are different, and then of course you have to actually drill through the plate some different things if you want to increase like the shifting capabilities and so I did this kit called like a zip kit. I did the zip kit install, which swaps a lot of parts, drills some stuff, improves performance, but of course like I can't find the accumulators. I could not find them anywhere online to replace those, so now I'm not fully 100%. So
that's weird.
Yeah, they just don't.
I'm sure they offer a master rebuild kit.
If I wanted to buy the full, $500 rebuild kit, that comes with the gear, all that, the clutch plates and all that stuff.
That's weird. It comes in that, but not by itself.
Yeah, well, they're just sold out. Yeah, so it's an old transmission that hasn't been used. I don't know how many years, but
so
that's been my fun lately. Now that car's driving, I got some other, things I have to fix on it, and then once that's more reliable, then hopefully I can then put my car up on the jack, quick jack again and pull it, suspension stuff. So I figure I'll be taking a couple weeks on it to slowly, because I'm filming it, of course, doubles and triples the time of the actual work.
Oh my god. Yeah, and that's exactly why. Like when I made my video, I just kind of did the root cause. Obviously, you know how to screw a nut on and bolt something in place. I kind of was giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. They knew what that was about, and then I just gave you the end result, because when you're sitting there filming everything, don't you think, Corey, it quadruples the time on everything? Oh my god. And then you gotta sit here and edit, and it's like you gotta not leave this out, and then so
I'll be filming it. Then my wife will run across like, "Oh," I'm like, "Bro, you gotta put a shirt on, man. Like, I can't put this on YouTube. Come on now, recut
yes,
that whole thing."
Yes, you can.
I was like, "Come on." So
you tell Mrs. Dirt. We understand YouTube's a thankless job, and we do appreciate her. Yeah.
She had fun with our pro clip mount video we did with our Mustang, so we had fun with that one. So.
That's good. That's good. At least she's getting a little screen time. But I'm excited to see this BMR, because I've never seen anybody take every freaking thing on the website and just throw it on the car and actually
go all in.
Yeah, and I know that you're going to have a good, thorough breakdown, and I know that you'll have a good, honest review back behind it. So I'm seriously pumped for that. So
it's only been a year. I've only had the parts for a year now. I'm sure I'll get to it any day now.
Oh, but is that all?
I still have flashbacks of when I did my WRX. I replaced the entire suspension on my WRX, and I still have flashbacks of that, because that was some of my early videos I did. And my edit software kept crashing. It made it such a nightmare. That's why I stopped doing YouTube for like over a year after I did that car, because I just had such a freaking pain. And then of course I replaced every bushing, and I didn't have a press at the time, and so I was using threaded rods. I'm running threaded rods through the bushing, and then
my god,
and the impact. I'm running the threaded rod through, and that was. It took like a month. Probably from start, and it was out in my driveway too. In the 100-something degree Tennessee.
That's what I did. That's what I did.
So I did. That car did coilovers. I did every single bushing. I did. Even did a roll center kit, which because once you lower your car, your center of gravity or whatever they call it is changed. So then you do this like the roll center kit, which then brings down your center of gravity of your vehicle in line, so it adjusts the pivot points of your suspension. I even did
but it makes a huge difference, though.
Oh yeah, that car handled amazing for. It was WRX. It handled crazy good. Crazy good.
Yeah.
And it looked good once it was. I didn't slam it or anything like that. I just lowered it, coilovers. I did all the suspension stuff. Every single like that BMR list, triple that is what I did on the WRX. Literally like 30 things I did on that thing. Like I said, every bushing on the entire suspension was replaced.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so now like, I see suspension parts now sitting on the thing. I have like flashback PTSD of like shit. It was like, and then of course, I even had, you know, because and then there's very specific torque, you know, things you have to like. You can't torque while the suspension's not under load. You know, you can't sag your suspension, torque it, and then drive on it because then it'll be not a good. It just won't be right. Yeah. So that's one thing about the quick jack is I can slide my wheel crib underneath the wheels, lower it a little bit, and put it back on the wheel crib. It'd still be up in the air. I can do my torque values and stuff like that. You know, raise it back up. But then the Camaro, the issue is half the damn bolts are torque to yield bolts. So
I reused them.
Most people do, and BMR does give you a chart that says, like, you know, let's say it's 85 foot-pound and then another, like, 45 degrees or something like that. Or if you reuse it, do it to, like, 105 foot-pound.
That's exactly what it is.
Should be good. So I think on the camber bolts and stuff, I'm going to reuse them, even though I bought all new bolts. But then I'm going to take it to the alignment shop, and I'm going to give them my new bolts and have them swap the bolts when they do the alignment. Because anytime you do alignment, technically, you're supposed to replace those set of bolts. So I don't want to put the new torque to yield bolts in and then torque it and then take it to the alignment shop and then have to do another set of new bolts the next day. So. Yeah,
that's that now. I just torqued mine down to, I torqued the main bolts down to like 100 foot-pounds, and I was like, good. It's good.
Did you mark it so you can see if it's backing out on you or anything like that? She's like, I'm just going off. Go to America. Freedom is going for God in my ride.
I just turned down the radio.
I just torqued that bad boy to three freedom turns.
That's right. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't have the tools to do that additional 70 degrees or whatever they say.
Well,
or 90 degrees.
I'm just gonna mark it. You know, mark, and then I'm just gonna do. I don't have like one of those fancy protractor looking you can hook to into your damn torque wrench, you know, or socket. Yeah, they make them. They're pretty cheap. But then again, a lot of them they take up a lot of space. So if you're in like a tighter area, it ain't gonna fit anyways. So like I said, I'm just gonna get like a marker. I will mark, you know, the range, and I'm just gonna then move the marking to the whatever and call it good. I mean, it might be off by percentage of a degree, but that's close enough.
Yep.
You know, so.
Yep. That's close enough. That's how I operated it too. So 100 foot-pounds done.
Yeah. So that's my next fun thing on the Camaro, and then I'm think I'm gonna plastic dip the Explorer, and I make a video out of that. I have a little sprayer kit. Yeah,
the whole thing.
So that'll be fun because I think my daughter maybe helped me with that one. So
oh my god.
I'm gonna have her just completely jack. I'm gonna see if I can make her like plastic. See how bad it turns out. But I have the sprayer. I got all the color. Because, but I have to do a lot of prep work. So I got some like rock chips I want to fill. Like even if it in sand, even if it looks kind of crappy, when you plastic dip it over, it'll be smooth and look good. But of course, if you have a big rock chip, you plastic dip over it, you'll see that divot and stuff like that. And I got to pull the roof rack off probably because that's all kind of shit. And I got to touch up some rust spots. But I figured that'd be a fun video to do just because like watch a complete idiot try to freaking plastic dip a car, and I hate doing bodywork stuff, so it'll be even better. Especially trying to do it like in my garage. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah,
but it's might be a little. Yeah, it's gonna be. I'll be using the dip your car plastic dip, so it's not like the canned stuff from like Walmart. It's actually legit. The good stuff for plastic dip, and it lasts a couple years. Idea. So
that's good.
Yeah, I mean it lasts a couple years if you take care of it. I mean, and they even have a top coat you can put on there that makes it resistant to like chemicals and stuff like that, like even gasoline. Huh. So it's not like the old plastic dip in the little can with the black lid, the blue can you spray on there, and it peel right off after
Yeah, wrinkles off in 2 weeks, and then you're sitting there touching up nonstop.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make my wife do a video where we're touching up the paint chips on her Mustang. Her Mustang's got a lot of paint chips on it, so we're gonna do paint chip repair. I'm gonna make her do that, so that'll be funny to watch her freaking jack that up. Yeah. and we're gonna plastic dip her emblems because they're like an ugly chrome color. We're gonna blacken those out.
There you go.
So I got a lineup of a bunch of stuff. It's all about getting motivated to go and film all this stuff. But like I said, normally you go work in your car. If I got 2 hours to work on this car, you get something done. But if you're like, I need to record it, set up for it, and do the work on it, well, I actually need like 6 hours to actually get anything done.
Seriously. Well, I've never plastic dip anything, so that'll be a pretty awesome watch. So
yeah, well, if you want to see how probably not to do it, I think it would be Doc, man. No, not to do your car.
How not to do it?
Yeah. I'm assuming the first time is going to be a complete mess up. So, but hey, it might turn out. My daughter drives the Explorer a lot, so for school. Actually, she just broke her foot a couple weeks ago, so now she's not driving. But before she broke her foot, she was driving the Explorer to school or whatever. And the Explorer, it's a pretty good car. It's got a 5.0 in it, all-wheel drive, full set of full headers on it. Full headers, full custom dual exhaust on it, so it's loud. She's like, actually, I like it. It's loud. I'm like, yeah. That's what it's America. That's freedom.
Freedom! Bald eagles flying out the back there. Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, thanks, guys, for joining me. Beast, like I said, like the video on your way in, like the video on your way out. Be sure to check out everybody's channel. Other than that, I hope everybody has a good week, and maybe we'll talk to you guys soon.
Freedom. You want freedom.
Freedom, baby. Later, guys.
See ya.